Hello, welcome. Please have a seat because I have a story to tell you. What does it mean to free your soul through effort of arm alone, to break free from doubt and to be brought up to Valhalla by wing of Valkyrie, to live eternally in the company of fellow warriors and bask in the light of your achievements? Well, it means taking on a hostile land, killing the 5 great spirits that rebelled against Odin, and mounting their heads as a tribute to the Allfather. Simple, right? Well, welcome to Valheim, a survival crafter from the time where all you could find was survival crafters. But Valheim stood a head above the rest, especially for me personally, due to its phenomenal styling, enchanting landscapes, satisfying building, and honestly hellish boss battles. Here in Valheim is where my story takes place. It's a story of trial, camaraderie, achievements, adventure. But like many stories of the old Viking era, it is a story that ends in tragedy. But until then, let's have a little fun. We began our journey by being dropped out of the sky by a minion of the Allfather into a deep, dark forest of thick trees and underbrush. For your information, this is a multiplayer game, and you will see some of my allies and friends pop in from time to time to aid me in my own trials. But for now, we are alone, here. A helpful crow is here. He explains your situation, how you failed in your previous life, but that you've been given another chance in death. Kill for Odin. Go to Valhalla. With a newfound purpose in an unfamiliar land, we set off, hardly clothed and with only a torch for protection. The darkness feels engulfing, all-consuming as we stumble our way through. Something is in the underbrush. Are those the barks of deer, or something else? They may be a boar foraging, but you came from the dead, so what else could? I proceeded with honestly excessive caution, especially for a warrior as I'm supposed to be, setting out of the forest 1 foot at a time, and for the first time in this game, I felt it. Hope. Opportunity. We found a place to stake a claim, somewhere to feel safe. This would be the first of many, but for now it would be home. Now, for progress. Valheim is a specific kind of role-playing game, honestly. It's one where you not only build up yourself as a character, but your base specifically. As you chop down trees to raise walls, you eventually feel safe enough to start crafting better gear to speed up the process. You go from walls to better axes, to bigger walls to bigger axes. But eventually, stone and flint just won't do the job. You need metal. But how do you get metal? Kill the deer god. And that's how. Make weapons, kill god, get metal, build better axe, build bigger walls. The cycle continues. You build, you craft, you hit the end of what your material can do, and then you throw yourself into the fray against the next bigger and badder horror that this world throws at you. That will have to wait for now, since we are still just staking our first claim and calling this land home for the first time. Progress is swift, however. Fields are planted, storage organized, and quickly we get ahead of ourselves, creating grander and grander projects. The first boss falls at our feet pitifully as we slowly but surely take control of this great wild world. Eventually, however, the resources that our home can easily pull in from the world are drained, leaving us feeling claustrophobic on our limited stretch of land. Our course is unsure and we don't know fully what is out there, but we do what Vikings do best. We build a damn boat. Liberation is the word of the day, the majestic word that encapsulates the sensation we experience the first time we sail forth, leaving our known world behind in search of tomorrow, in search of what is next. We first set foot on a mirroring black forest biome, one where we hope to find more metal to ship back to our home without creating another fully operational base, as well as a gateway into the mountains we find here, which is quite nice later on. Please keep note of that. We build up wooden walls and the remnants of a stone tower. Who lived here before, we are unsure, but we make sure to pay our respects as we remake this once warm hold into something to be proud of once again. We ended up spending a large amount of time hopping back and forth between these two bases, unwilling to set any heavy roots anywhere too far from home, even with the newly discovered teleport gates, since we couldn't transport any unrefined metal or refined metal if it wasn't turned into a tool or set of armor with them. We did not set roots, but I'll be damned if we didn't see all we could see. The world was our oyster, and we sailed far and wide, searching for the next place, the next boss, the next adventure. Then, we found it. A tiny island sat far to the south of our original home. It connected the peaceful meadowland that was on its west side to a harsh, chaotic swampland on the east side. According to how this world was designed, these two pieces of land never should touch, but because of this individual island, we had a rare opportunity. The swamp was ripe with danger, but we knew what lay in the catacombs below: iron. Our future was in that swamp, but building a base inside the swamp was honestly suicide. So we built on the island and constructed a great bridge across the channel. This should keep us safe from the horrors of the swamp, we thought. Rather silly, if I'm going to be honest. In all reality, the island was a tiny pocket of what is known as a plains biome, a biome far exceeding both the swamp and mountains in danger, and the enemies that spawned cost us dearly. Buildings were torn down, rebuilt, and torn down again. Full chests of items were burnt. There was nothing left, but still, the human spirit prevailed. We dug deep and we leveled that land. We killed every inhabitant we found and raised mighty walls around the lore stones we found there as a symbol to our great conquest. All that was left was to strip the swamp of its riches and claim tomorrow. This wasn't easy, however, but we are nothing if not strong in will, and over time, we managed to send our first load of iron by ship to the homeland. Then we decided that it takes way too long, and we built a better crafting station and the foundry in our frontier base, just to make things a little easier on us. At first, my allies were unwilling to leave the homeland, however. They thought only of the achievements we had on the homeland, but as they discovered the great things we had access to on the frontier, they slowly began to shift their gear and ways of life so that we soon would call the frontier our home. Our walls became even mightier, and we explored further and further, the strength of iron giving us courage to go further beyond the known world. There were losses, wasted time, and many deaths in foreign places. Even one time where we lost a full ship and all the gear on a person, who will not be named but definitely was not me, to the edge of the world as we fell into oblivion. But the gains were worth it, and we were free. We eventually decided to stop looking outward and focus on the land we had access to, but had been too afraid to take. We decided to conquer the mountains and search for silver and greater gear. This would lead to more death. We experienced full sessions of nothing but death as we found ourselves lost in the cold, unable to return home without our gear and our spawn set high in the mountain. It was almost the end for us, as some of us spent hours trying to recover our gear. It was a trial on our patience, and some didn't even want to return to the mountains. They felt that the mountains were not worth the riches they held, but as per usual, we maintained. Our tried patience and our anger only drove us harder, made us stronger, and we claimed the mountains as our own, building mighty gear. We gathered the great eggs of the dragon and prepared for the fight of a lifetime. Our home was built up even stronger still, using the tar we claimed from the mighty plains as we conquered those as well. We held a hoard of metal and gold from unearthly places across the entirety of Valheim. All that remained was the material to improve our furnace so that then we could meld the mythical ores into our ideal form. We just needed to kill that damn dragon. That would come soon. Our weapons rivaled those of the gods, and we lived in the comfort of nobles, drunk on mead, bellies full and ready for a fight. We gathered, we logged off, and we waited. For the next day I could gather all of my allies together to give them their gear, to fill their bellies. We would drink and eat and be merry, and at the end of it all, we would kill us a dragon. And then, the day arrived. Odin did not smile on us. As we came to consciousness, we found ourselves waking without beds or walls, without the warmth of the fire next to us. Were we moved elsewhere? Was this some kind of challenge for us to overcome? Who had done this? But as we looked out on the fields where we woke, we found the lore stones, not circled by mighty walls, but resting undisturbed. We found the crossing to the swamp, but with no great bridge, and we found the peaceful meadow of uncut trees right next to us, all without the influence of human hands. and eventually, we found the gods we already conquered, living and unafflicted. Alright, break from the story. On a video game level, a glitch occurred, where the server reverted back to day one, causing every block we placed, every rich we retrieved, and every claim we made void. The world was reverted to its previous form, the form of a world where everything myself and my friends had achieved simply never happened. And I didn't have a backup. Valheim, despite being an early access game, is a solid game in all honesty. And I had played it for over 100 hours before experiencing my first real issue or bug. This is it. This is that bug. This was the first bug I properly experienced, and it killed everything that I had. Our only proof we did anything at all was the armor on our backs and the skills we gained along the way. With little in the way of options and the bitterness of loss still fresh, we staked one more claim and we built a grand hall in the peaceful meadows with the large windows facing the lake. We would live out our days here. The fight had left our souls tattered and Valhalla seemed so distant. All we could think to do was fish and live alongside the creatures that first welcomed us to this amazing world. But I suppose that's not so bad of an ending, now is it? Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry this video ended on such a low note, but this was honestly our story, and every story has an ending, good or bad. I still wholeheartedly recommend Valheim. Just do yourself a favor and back up your save every week or so. They're doing a phenomenal job keeping the game going and updating it, but there will always be some issues like this, and especially with how rare this particular bug is, it's very hard for them to pin down exactly what's causing it. But as I said, this story is over, for now at least. I will one day return to Valheim and hopefully reach Valhalla, but for now, there are other places to see, and we traveled as far as the ships will carry us. So again, thank you so much for sitting and listening to my story. Until next time.